This video is going to show you how to create tables from graphs, so from functions that you have graphed. I'm going to show you two different ways. So let's actually just get a graph out. So we're going to click somewhere, hit the graph icon, and here's our graph. Let's enter a function. Let's do a linear one just to start because that's relatively easy. So here's my function, and the easiest way to make a table is to literally click the table icon. So if the function you've graphed has specific table values, so if it's an inequality, the answers are infinite, so it's not going to have a table icon. But this is a linear equation, so we're going to click display table, and you'll notice that boom, it pops up a table. Here's my input, here's my function output, and the values. And the tables that are automatically created when you choose the table icon are from -5 to 5. But the nice thing about this is you can change any of those values and it will automatically do the calculation. So let's say I wanted to see what 4.4 was. It would input that and give me the output. So you can change this. It automatically does -5 to 5 going by a scale of 1, but you can add in decimal values. You can add in really large values. What if x were 100? What if x were -56? It's going to give me those values, if that makes sense, right? I could then watch what happens if I graph a second function. Let's just graph another linear, but this time let's make it so here's my second function, and if I click table again, so notice that the second function doesn't have its table highlighted because I didn't click it, but if I click it, watch what happens. It adds that table value right next to the original one. So this is a nice, if you're comparing functions and looking at things, if you're trying to find, is there a point where they have in common, is there a point where the output is the same? And if we click on this, you know, what is that point? I'm looking for this point. Notice it's in standard notation. If you're not familiar with this, that is something that Classpad allows, but we could go into our coordinates here and change it to decimal. And so we're looking for, where is this point, 0.8? Well, that's not on my table, so I could add it. I could just put in 0.8 and see what happens, and I get the same output. So these are the things you're looking for. So the quick way to add a table is to simply graph your function and then hit the table icon, and you'll get a table, and you can compare as many functions as you have. You can compare all their graphs. So that's one way to do it. A second way to do it is, if you're looking for specific values, is to create your own table. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go down and just pull up another graph sticky here, and let's enter this time. Let's do a quadratic, not a quadratic, a cubic, just because I like them. They're always pretty interesting. Oops. And I am using f of x in here. I didn't have to. I could have said y. I could have said g of x. You do have to have the input-output part as part of the equation. So now I'm going to hit execute, and it's going to see my graph. Oh, and I'm not super excited about that. No. Let's make it. And let's move it up a little. All I'm doing is just playing around because I kind of want to have it cross the axis a little bit more. All right, so here is, say, my cubic, which is fine. And I could, again, see I have my table icon. I could display the table, but this time I want to show you another way to do a table. Instead of just clicking the automatic table, which goes from -5 to 5, I could actually collect points that are of interest to me. So when you click on the graph, you'll notice that key points come up automatically. So that's true of whatever you're graphing, the key points. So like the intercepts, the minimum, the maximums, those types of things come up. So if I click on one of those points, and it's in standard notation, so it's a little scary right now, so let's actually change this to our decimal versions. There we go. If I click on one of these key points, you'll see how it's highlighted, right? And when it's highlighted, if I right-click it, I can convert it to a table. And it will just put that one specific point into my table. And so let's say I want just these key points that I found. And so I'm going to click all of them and make sure all of them are highlighted. And now when I right click, it's going to put them all into a table. And so now I have some key points from my graph. So this is a different type of table. So either the automated table here or create your own table by adding points. And you can do something like, let's click here. I can actually add a point that's not a key point. So let's click a point right there. And it's a little hard to see. There's its point. I need to scroll. There we go. So this point, you'll see, is a movable point. And so you could have students, okay, we want you to collect 10 different data points. And these are all going to be random instead of given by the set table. So once they do it, all they have to do every time is convert it to a table. And then let's now go collect a new one, convert it to a table. And so they can create their own table instead of a standard table. So let's collect another point and convert it to a table. So two different ways to do tables. The given table that goes from -5 to 5, and then you can add points, or collect key features by right-clicking and doing convert to a table, adding a point to a graph, and collecting your own data just to find some interesting things about it. So it sort of depends what you're trying to do with your students.